Hi, my name is Fernando Lopez. I'm the Senior Director at FICO for our Business Value Experts. And today I'm joined by Allison Lemaster from SentiLink. Thank you, Allison. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. I was wondering if you could share with us, give us an overview of SentiLink.
Yeah, so SentiLink was founded in 2017 with a specialization in fraud prevention. We started out with synthetic identity, and then added identity theft along with first-party fraud, and then expanded our suite to cover additional compliance services as well.
Yeah, you guys have been fantastic in the industry. I've seen it in the auto space, fighting fraud as well as here in North America. How does your synthetic IDs actually help?
Yeah, so our synthetic ID score works. We work very closely with our partners to understand how synthetic IDs show up in the ecosystem. So our solution starts with two primary data sets. So we look at historical and authoritative data.
Right.
Our historical data is made up of over 500 partners and over 3 million applications a day, on top of our authoritative third-party data that we use. So that's kind of the foundation of the data set. But then we have a fraud intelligence team that reviews tens of thousands of cases to identify synthetic identity. And that deep fraud taxonomy label allows us to feed our models with very accurate identification into those targets to build a comprehensive and accurate synthetic ID score. Now, those intelligence agents aren't just using our own internal data. They're using third-party data. They're even using open source data like social media to really get to the intent of what's happening behind that synthetic ID.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we actually don't stop there. So once we develop that model, our fraud intelligence team then continues to QA cases to really understand how are fraud trends changing over time, how are synthetic identities manipulating data to identify or capture different types of fraud. So all of those get fed into our system in real time so that we can help our partners stay one step ahead of the fraud trends that they're seeing.
Wow. Then, you mentioned the taxonomy. So how do you differentiate between malicious identities?
Yeah, so our team is not just saying this is synthetic or this is not synthetic.
Right.
We actually have 24 different types of synthetic IDs that get to the true intent behind the application. And so, as I mentioned, that analyst team is diving into the data, trying to understand what's going on behind the scenes to feed that taxonomy. And we don't stop there. As I mentioned before, we are constantly pushing to get better. Our most recent synthetic model release, actually, we lovingly refer to as Monique. Monique was a real person. Now we've changed her name for privacy purposes. But she immigrated to the country, was issued a social security number, working legally, and to no fault of her own, we were unable to verify her. She was showing up as high-risk indicators due to social security randomization and how her identity was being created in our system. So our fraud intelligence team actually used Monique as the inspiration for the next version of our model and being able to better separate malicious intent from truth in files. So that release just came out a couple of months ago, and it's been phenomenal for our partners to help with that degree of separation. So that level of deep understanding and constantly pushing for the next best model is part of our taxonomy and how we approach synthetic verification.
Right. So as you're innovating and pioneering, what emerging markets and threats are you looking at today?
Yeah, so our fraud intelligence team is constantly reviewing cases directly with our partners to understand the types of threats that are coming into the marketplace. Also, since we were really the pioneer for synthetic fraud prevention, we have such a rich and historical data set to draw from that allows us to build that intelligence. And then on top of that, we actually view our partners as partners. It's not marketing language that we use. If our partners are under a new attack, we are showing up with them on the front lines to help them understand what's going on, to get in front of the fraud techniques, and then bring that data into our network so that all of our partners benefit from the intelligence that we gain on the front lines.
Oh, fantastic. And could you share a little bit uniqueness, like what sets you apart in the industry?
Yeah, so it really is that fraud intelligence team. So our historical data, as I already mentioned, we're looking at that confidential network layer that has over 3 million applications a day. But it's what our fraud intelligence team does to constantly learn the behaviors of fraudsters, to constantly learn about what is entering our partners' ecosystems that allows us to stay one step ahead of what the fraud's trying to do in the industry today.
Well, thank you very much, Allison.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.